let's talk about the Under Armour HOVR Machina off-road trail shoes. So let's talk some specs for this shoe. First of all, they are a trail shoe designed for all terrain. They weigh 300 grams each, which is about 10.5 ounces. They have an 8mm drop. They come in at 150 pounds. So they have the hover cushioning, which reduces impact and returns feedback and energy to help propel you forward. They have a storm-treated upper, which repels water without sacrificing breathability. It is a lightweight design for the upper mesh. They have an external heel counter to help keep you locked in. They also have an ultra durable Vibram outsole, which also has this mega grip lug pattern for extra traction. So a quick note just before we jump into everything, I have run about 200 miles in these shoes on a mix of terrain, including 2 competitive ultra marathons. And also these are in an 8.5. I'm usually an 8. I decided to get them half a size up because I was struggling with having tight shoes, and I actually slightly regret that decision. I think these are very true to size, so I wish I would have got these in an 8. So let's kick it off with the things that I like. So first of all, it's this mega grip lug pattern. The tread, it's so aggressive. It really is. I like it because it's not super tight. It's quite spacious. However, it just gives you a lot of grip. I really, really like it. I find I have a lot of confidence in these shoes. As I said, they are half a size too big, so my foot swims about in it a little bit. However, even with that, the lug pattern on this, the tread is just so good. I really like it. I do find these don't transfer to road very well though, just because of the amount of aggression on the tread. I prefer to keep these to the trail. These aren't one that I would really run from the front door to the trail. These are ones that I would drive to a trail and then put these on specifically for that. So next up is comfort. I think these are a really comfortable shoe. They've also got a lot of cushioning, so that helps. But as far as they go, they're quite wide, especially in the upper. The toe box is wide, which is nice, and the heel is quite plush, and it gives you a lot of stability. So as comfort goes, I think these are a really nice, comfortable shoe. That leads me on to the toe box, which is quite wide actually. I really like it. It feels like a really roomy toe box. It gives your foot enough space to sort of wriggle your toes. I like to flex my foot as much as I can when I'm running and actually use the muscles in my feet. So I find this shoe allows me to do it a little bit sort of in the upper, which is nice. I can move my toes around, which is really helpful. Next up is the heel counter. So even though these are half a size up, the heel counter is still really good and does keep you locked in. As I said in the opening, my foot swims around a little bit in these, and that is because I got the wrong size. However, that heel counter does keep you locked in nicely, and I do like it when descending. I think they're really solid and they work really well, and you can have a lot of confidence in this shoe and push the pace. And then the final thing I like about these is the wide base. So if you have a look at it from up top, you can see that the base here is wider than the upper. So lots of shoes, they have a very narrow sort of base to them, and you find that your foot is right on the edges, whereas I don't find that with these. I find that there's a little bit of bulk on the outsole, which is really nice because you've just got this amazing platform to land on and push off of. For me, that gives me so much confidence in these shoes. They don't roll back and forward too much. I have no fear of rolling an ankle in these shoes. I just push and push and push, and I really like that. That's one of my favorite things, is just I feel so stable in these shoes, and I absolutely love that. And another quick one is the laces on these. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I've got these extremely wet, absolutely soaking wet, and the laces hold really well. These are one tie and you're done. I know it seems like every shoe should be that way, but unfortunately not every shoe is that way, but these definitely are. The laces are brilliant. Okay, so let's jump into some dislikes. So the first one is the bulkiness of this shoe. So this one actually annoys me quite a bit. I just think it's all a bit bulky. I like the outsole, as I said. However, up here, the tongue is bulky, the heel is bulky, it's plush, and it's comfortable, but it's just a bit too much. I feel that these are quite heavy when I'm running in them, and I really notice that they're on my feet, and they don't feel slim and quick. They do feel a little bit cumbersome at times, and I think a lot of that just comes from all the bulk that's in the upper. That for me is just not something that I massively love. They feel very rigid, I find, so that I'm not a massive fan of that. I wish they were a little bit more lightweight. So along with that, the responsiveness. So I spoke about the wide toe box, which is really nice, and it allows your feet to move a little bit. The only thing I find is that because of this hover cushioning, it's so thick that actually you don't really get that responsiveness. They say that it's meant to give you the responsiveness and return energy, but I don't really find it does. I actually feel that you can't massively use your feet and the muscles in your feet to any real advantage. It's often you just land on this wide platform and you push off. It's a little bit like having your foot in a cast, which isn't the best thing. I like to have a shoe that's a little bit more supple and can move with me a little bit, so I can sort of impact how I run with my feet and dig in certain sections, whereas I feel that these are a little bit more sort of roll over any terrain kind of shoe, and I like something a little bit more sort of aggressive on the sort of function side of how I use my foot. Another thing that comes along with this bulkiness, and this is the thing I actually hate the most about this shoe, is the amount of water that they take on and how slowly they drain. If I run through a massive puddle in these shoes, they get so heavy. All of this bulk around here takes on so much water, and it's just like running with weights on your shoes. Like, it's crazy how heavy these get, and it really shocks me every time. If I run through a puddle or get these wet by accident, I'm just like, what's going on? This is mad. It's one of those shoes where if I'm running and it's wet, I'm actively trying to dodge puddles, whereas I don't really want to be thinking about that too much when I run, but they fill up so much. And then along with that, they're really hard to clean and really hard to dry. So I've got 4 pairs of trail shoes, and if I got them all wet on the same day, these would take maybe 2 days longer to dry. And we're talking about like stuffing them with towels and hanging them on like radiators and things like that, and just doing as much as I can to dry them, and they just don't dry like other shoes. They just take on so much water, and it's really frustrating. I think if you love this shoe and you wanted to run in it every day, you would possibly need 3 pairs in the winter just to actually have a rotation so you can get dry shoes, because otherwise you just constantly have soaking wet shoes and they would just build up a horrible smell. So that's the main things that I really like and dislike about this shoe. In summary, I do think it is a really good shoe. It's maybe a little bit expensive at £150, but what you get is really good. It's really high tech, it's super durable. These have done 200 miles and they look pretty great, other than being caked in mud, but I'm not cleaning them for a video, sorry. I prefer them to summer. I think as we're going into the winter now, I'm probably going to shelve these for a couple of months, and they'll come out next year for a race maybe, or some just hard sort of summer miles. I do think these are much, much better in the dry. They are quite breathable, which is good, so if it's hot, you're not going to overheat in them too much. If you're looking for a shoe that you can use to run from your front door on the road, then jump on the trail, I wouldn't recommend these because you will just carve off these lugs straight away. They're not the most comfortable shoe to run in on the road, however on the trail they are extremely comfortable. So this is the type of shoe where if you're always just only on the trail, you don't do any road running, these will be really good for you. As far as distance goes, I think these are great for any sort of trail event. I have done ultra marathons in these and they held up really well, really comfy the whole time. I think the longest one I did was a 40 miler in these. So they're doing really well as far as durability goes, and they're going to suit you for most trail races. If you're doing something shorter, you might want something that's a little bit lighter and quicker. You might want something like the On Running Cloud Ultra. And if you do want to have a look at that, I have a review for it up here, and then also you can look at my entire review playlist down here. It's completely up to you. Remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified of when I upload. If you've got any questions about the shoes, please drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.